Hello again, this is Michiel Borkent from the Netherlands. This is a little video about a script I made with Babashka, and I posted it on Twitter, and Robert Stutterford, who is sponsoring me on GitHub, thank you Robert, asked or suggested that it would make a nice video. So I'll just make a casual video about this, what I've done. It's not really advanced, it's just a tiny useful script for working with deps.edn in a monorepo setting. Just a shout out to other sponsors that are my main sponsors currently. Clojure is Together, who is sponsoring open source software in the Clojure ecosystem. They have been sponsoring me for the second round already. Thanks a lot everyone who is donating to this. It really helps the Clojure ecosystem keep at it. Cognitect is sponsoring me via GitHub sponsors. Really appreciate it. AtGoji is sponsoring me on Open Collective, and with a generous amount of money. They are actually the biggest sponsor I have right now. And Next Journal is sponsoring me on GitHub as well. Thanks a lot. So let's get into the script real quick. So the script is here, and what it does, so we have a problem in our at our work, where we have a monorepo with multiple deps.edn projects, and deps.edn or tools deps. Yeah, what's the name for it? It's a configuration file for Clojure projects, similar to project CLJ if you're used to Leiningen, or boot build.boot for the boot build tool, which is gone a little bit out of fashion now. So we're actually migrating at work from boot to deps.edn now, but there are some things that are not so well supported right now, which is what we had in boot, in our boot setup. We had managed dependencies. So we could say in project A, we have a dependency on this library, and in project B, we also have a dependency on the same library, but we would like to keep the version of that library the same for all our projects. And also, if we use that dependency in a library, in a library of our own, maybe, we would also keep it the same. So if we upgrade the library in one project, it should be upgraded everywhere. So we have one consistent set of dependencies. For boot, I solved this problem once with a little tool called boot bundle, and it let you describe the sets of dependencies with versions. So let's zoom in a little bit. So you could say, well, this is my set of Clojure dependencies, and what I get for that is Clojure 1.8 a few years ago already, and this library, and this library, and this library. So if I would pull in the Clojure set of dependencies, I would always get this. And then in your build.boot, you would say, well, first you would say, I need boot bundle. And then you could say, expand keywords, and then here is your set of dependencies, which, yeah, so this is how we used to do it, but this doesn't work in deps.edn, because in deps.edn you cannot call programs to pull in things for you. So another way that we tried with deps.edn was the CLJ config hack, let's say. Guide maybe, let's see. So there is a environment variable which you can set to point at your user configuration. And so we used this to include the base deps in our project, but the downside of this is that you can no longer use your real user configuration where you define your tools. So this was a hack, but we also had a problem with this. So one new employee of ours is using Cursive, and Cursive did not understand our custom way of using this. So yeah, there were some discussions in the Tools Deps channel on Clojure in Slack as well. That this might not be the most optimal way. So another way, and this way always works, is just generate the deps.edn with all the dependencies already set. So let's create a monorepo. I'm here in Emacs, and this is monorepo app1 and then deps.edn. So let's say we want to include a library called medley, and we don't want to set the version here because we want to have the same version of medley in all our applications in our monorepo. So what we do is we just put a nil here, and then we make a monorepo, we make a directory, well, for example, base. This is what we did with the CLJ-config hack. And so we made an alias base, and then extra deps, I think, deps, and then medley maven version. I think it's 031. Not sure, but we can change this later. So the idea is that the other script that we just saw is pulling the version from this script. So in order to accomplish this should not be a deps.edn file, but a template. So let's rename this file to deps template.edn. Okay, so now we can put in comments and whatever, they will be preserved, but the generated deps.edn will contain this version from the base. Okay, so I actually didn't prepare this very well, so this is all improvised, so bear with me. So this is raw. Let's copy the script. It's just a Babashka script that you will have to edit for your own monorepo. So what I usually do is a directory script and then again deps.edn or again deps.clj. Okay. Okay. So I put this here, and then so I will explain the script a little bit. So I will, so this is just some namespaces that I need. And these are some functions to merge the dependency versions into all my aliases and my deps keys. So the base deps are coming from base deps.edn, and then I read in that file as Eden, and I say base deps, alias as base, then it's called default deps. This is a feature, by the way, from tools deps, but I'm not using it anymore the way that it was designed. So I'm just pulling out the data and then merging it manually. So it doesn't really matter what this is called. But for now, I'll call this default deps. It doesn't matter. So it's just data. We're just working around features in tools deps. Just doing the data transformation using a script. Okay, but these are my default deps. And maybe I have some Maven repos. I don't actually have Maven repos in here. Default deps, base deps. So there in our own monorepo, we also have Maven repos here. But for this demo, I don't actually care a lot about this. And then, yeah, let me just run this script. So for each sub-project I call a function called generate deps. And I will just do it for app 1 here, because that's the only repository or the only app in our demo. So let me go here, remind me later. Just do a new terminal for this demo. Temp monorepo, and then I can call script again deps. So now it called my script, and maybe I have a deps.edn now. Yeah, so it generated the deps.edn, and let's see. So it didn't work, but it did generate something. So it says warning generated from deps template eden, do not edit here, use script to regenerate. Okay, but the dependency is not merged incorrectly. So what happened? We can debug this. So let's see if the base deps are the default deps, if they are parsed correctly. So this is what I sometimes do. Okay, let's see. Default deps nil. So this is the error. What happens? So this should be aliases. Okay. So now the default deps are correct, and now my medley version is correctly set here. Yes. And let's go into app 1. Now I can just do Clojure and let's see, medley.core sm, I don't know. So yeah, so that worked. So my medley version is now correctly set for my app 1. And now, of course, I can do an app 2. Oh, not awake yet. No such file or direct. Oh, yeah. I'm just awake, so bear with me. This is raw footage. Let's see. So I have app 2. So I would, in app 2, I have another template. So I would like to use medley there as well with the same version. So I just add this to the script. Again, deps app 2. Now I run it. Okay, I can remove the debugging now. And as you can see, in app 2, deps.edn, this is the generated one. I have exactly the same version of medley again, which is nice because now I can manage this just using my own script, and I don't have to have any workaround. What you see is what you get here, and so you can use the power of just a little script and just combining some data. using Babashka with fast startup time to control everything without any hacks anymore. So just a few details. So what happens in this logic is, so you have a deps map, and this deps map is typically, let's see, from our template. So this is a deps map. So what this function does is, this deps map is the entire deps.edn map. And now we have a couple of paths, and one path is the deps, and the other path is aliases. So if I would have aliases here, I have an alias foo, and I have some I think extra deps. Not sure if this works for extra deps. Alias foo, extra deps, matly nil. I'm not sure if I have taken this into account yet, but we can see. No, so I should add this to the let's see, keys. Oh, this is bad. I should have prepared this more. Merge defaults. Yeah. Aliases, keys, function. So these are all the alias names, right? And yeah, this is not, the path should actually have something like extra deps to this, right? Let's try. Yeah, so I forgot to add something to the path here. So it will update every deps map, so, or every, let's say, map of dependency to version, which can be in different paths in the deps.edn map. So this is one of them, but this is also one of them, right? So if I would use any dependency, well, it can be any dependency from this map here. It should get updated under extra deps or whatever else, other paths you might have in your deps.edn map. I think deps.edn also supports replace deps, so you would have to maybe generate more than this, but this is customized to our setup. Yeah. So what it does, so it then calls merge defaults on these pairs of dependency names and versions, and then it will only select the versions that you are actually using, so it won't merge any libraries. Like, let's say we have core async as well, and because I don't know the versions from the top of my head, I will do this hack. You should not actually be using release, but I'm just doing this for the demo. So if I would use core async in my default deps map, but I'm not actually using it here, it will not get merged in, right? Because I'm doing a select keys here on the deps. Yeah, so I'm only selecting the overridden dependencies from my that are actually occurring here from my deps map, and then I select keys. So I'm using then I'm selecting all the dependencies that are in my defaults, and then I'm merging that into my deps map. So this is how I merge the default versions. Yeah, so that is how it works. And so later on I will do some sorting. So all the dependencies, so if I would have the dependencies are sorted alphabetically, just for it just looks nicer to read, and it's easier in a Git diff. So if someone adds a dependency, it's very easy to see the differences, just because it's all sorted in a consistent way. That's more or less it. So the conclusion, just use a script, maybe. I'm not sure if this is the best way, but feel free to discuss in the comments. This is a pretty simple, not so sophisticated way to deal with the deps.edn monorepo problem. But for us, I think it works. So see you next time.